I sat alone at the dining room table, tracing my finger along the smooth surface of the polished oak. Wood that had absorbed years of shared memories. Birthdays, quiet Sunday dinners, spontaneous celebrations, and late-night talks over wine. Across from me, my wife Emily paced nervously, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her blouse. Her cheeks were flushed, her lips slightly trembling. Then she spoke, softly, hesitantly, words that knocked the air out of the room. "I've been thinking," she said, her voice uneven. "What if we tried an open marriage?" My hand froze, fork hovering midair, the bite of chicken forgotten. I stared at her, the words still echoing in my mind. An open marriage? After 15 years together? What? I managed to whisper. She looked away. "I just think maybe it could be good for us. We've been together so long. Maybe seeing other people would bring something new, something exciting." I studied her face, trying to understand what was really going on. She looked nervous, yes, but also resolved. Like she'd already rehearsed this conversation in her head more than once. "Is there someone else?" I asked, cutting straight to the heart of it. Her eyes widened. "No," she said too quickly. I knew that tone. I'd lived beside her for a decade and a half. That wasn't honesty, it was defense. A lie neatly wrapped in fake sincerity. Still, I didn't push. Not yet. I simply nodded slowly, suppressing the storm inside me. "All right," I said, keeping my voice steady. "If that's what you want, we'll try it." She looked relieved. Too relieved. That was all the confirmation I needed. She already had someone lined up. But she didn't know what I knew, or what I planned to do. Over the next few weeks, I watched her transform. Happier, lighter, always glued to her phone. Girls' nights, late work meetings, just grabbing coffee. I smiled and nodded through it all. But I wasn't naive. Being a software engineer has its perks. With minimal effort, I set up a tracking program on her phone, quiet, invisible. Within days, I had access to her messages, call history, and GPS logs. One name kept showing up: Derek. He worked with her. Younger, fitter, smug and full of himself, judging by his online presence. When I finally saw them together, sitting at a cafe, heads tilted close, her hand on his arm, it felt like someone had sucker punched me in the chest. But along with the pain came clarity. She wanted to rewrite our marriage rules? Fine. I'd play along. But I'd play smarter. I acted like the perfect husband. Supportive, understanding. I even brought up the idea of dating on my end. Her reaction? A flash of surprise, barely masked by a strained smile. "That's great," she said. "You deserve to have fun too." She really thought she'd fooled me. That I'd just accept this new arrangement while she sneaked around. So I joined a few dating apps. Not to fall in love, but to find someone who could help me turn the tables. That someone turned out to be Sarah. Sharp, gorgeous, and with a deliciously wicked sense of humor. When I laid it all out for her, she grinned. "So you want her to regret ever bringing this up?" "Exactly," I said. And from there, the plan took flight. Sarah and I began going out, always in public, always visible. We visited places I knew Emily liked, made sure mutual friends could see us. We took selfies at cozy cafes, at parks, at restaurants, and I posted them all. Captions like "living fully at last" and "real connection is rare" were carefully chosen. Emily noticed. I could see it in the way her smile faltered when she glanced at my phone, or how she started asking carefully phrased questions. "So how's Sarah?" "She's amazing," I'd reply with a bright smile. She'd nod, but her expression always tightened just a little. And then came our wedding anniversary. Emily still wanted to host a party for appearances. I agreed, while secretly preparing the final strike. The house buzzed with guests, laughter, and clinking glasses. Emily floated from conversation to conversation, looking every bit the perfect hostess. Until Sarah walked in, dressed to turn heads and holding my arm. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Who's that?" one of Emily's friends asked, not so quietly. I turned and said clearly, "This is Sarah, my girlfriend." Emily's face turned pale, then bright red. She muttered something and rushed to the kitchen. I gave her a moment, then followed. Inside, she turned to me furious. "What are you doing?" I shrugged. "You said open marriage, remember? I'm just doing my part." "This is humiliating." "Oh, Is it worse than watching your spouse drift away while pretending everything's fine? Worse than watching you sneak around with Derek like I wouldn't notice? Her face went blank. How did you? Doesn't matter. You wanted this. Now you've got it. Then I turned and walked back to the party, leaving her in stunned silence. Sarah and I enjoyed the evening while Emily stayed in the background, barely speaking. 1 week later, she asked for a divorce. I didn't hesitate. She thought she was ending things on her own terms. But she had no idea what she'd signed. Thanks to a tightly written prenup, and the fact that infidelity voided her claims, she walked away with almost nothing. The house, the cars, the savings, all stayed with me. Last I saw of her, she was hauling boxes into a rented apartment alone. Derek was nowhere in sight. Turns out, their little romance fizzled once the thrill of sneaking around was gone. As for me, Sarah and I are still together. What started as a plan for revenge slowly turned into something genuine. Maybe in the end, Emily did me the biggest favor of all.